Pisces, tomorrow the sky is going to go dark in the middle of the day. And for you, this isn't something to fear. This is the luckiest event the universe could hand you, one that's going to move your journey forward spiritually and physically. That's not a metaphor. That's a real, total solar eclipse, one of the rarest things our sky does. And it's happening in Leo, the sign of being witnessed, of performance, of the self you show the world. Stay with me for the next 20 minutes because I'm going to walk you through exactly what this eclipse means for you, why it's hitting your sign the way it is, and more importantly, what it's asking you to finally let go of. Let's talk about what this really means for you, not the whole zodiac, you specifically. Tomorrow, the moon is going to slide directly between the Earth and the sun, and for a little over 2 minutes, day is going to turn to night for anyone standing under its shadow. But you don't need to be standing under that shadow to feel this one, Pisces. You never have. You're the sign that feels a storm coming before the first cloud even shows up. If the last couple of weeks have felt a little strange, heavier sleep or almost none of it, emotions sitting closer to the surface than usual, a pull to just disappear from everything for a while, that wasn't you being dramatic. That was your body already tuning itself to tomorrow. Here's why this particular eclipse matters so much for you. It's landing in Leo, and for Pisces, Leo lights up the part of your life connected to your body, your daily habits, your work, the quiet, unglamorous ways you either take care of yourself or quietly put yourself last. So this isn't a vague, big things are coming kind of eclipse. It's asking you something direct. Are you going to keep pouring everything you have into everyone else, or is this the moment you finally let some of that care come back to you? Think of it like this. The sun is your outer self, the version of you the world sees. The moon is your inner self, your emotions, your intuition, the part of you that only really comes out when it's quiet. Tomorrow, those two line up perfectly, and for a few minutes, there's no gap left between who you are and who you show people you are. For most signs, that's just a symbol. For you, Pisces, the sign that already lives closest to that inner world, it's going to feel like being fully seen, maybe for the first time in a while, including by yourself. Every sign is going to feel this eclipse somewhere, but you're going to feel it in your foundation, the part of your chart connected to health, to daily habits, to the job or role you show up to every single day, whether you feel like it or not. Here's the pattern I want you to notice about yourself, because I think you've normalized it for so long you've stopped seeing it. You are the sign that absorbs. Not on purpose, it's just how you're built. You walk into a room and you know within 30 seconds who's upset, even if they're smiling. You read the tension under a text message before you've even fully processed the words. You carry your best friend's bad week like it happened to you. You've probably apologized for things that were never your fault just to keep the peace. That's not weakness, that's an actual gift. The kind of gift healers and artists and the people everyone calls an old soul are built out of. But gifts have a cost when nobody ever taught you how to put them down. And for a long time, the cost has been you, your sleep, your body, your own unfinished sentences. This eclipse is landing exactly there, in your habits, your health, your work, and asking one blunt question. Are you going to keep running yourself on empty in the name of taking care of everyone else, or is this the week you finally admit you're allowed to be one of the people you take care of? That's not a guilt trip. That's an invitation. Keep that in mind because the next part is going to feel a little uncomfortable, but only because it's true. I want to walk you through 7 things I'm willing to bet at least 3 or 4 of you have already noticed this week. You don't need all 7 to apply. If even 2 of them land, that's enough. Write them down. 1. Your sleep has gone strange. Either you're sleeping harder than usual and still waking up tired, or you're wide awake at 3 a.m. for no reason you can name. Both are the same signal. Your nervous system is processing something before your conscious mind has caught up. 2. Your dreams have gotten loud, vivid, specific, the kind you remember in full scenes instead of fragments. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, the planet of dreams and the unconscious. So during eclipse season, you're basically standing closer to the download than most people. Pay attention to what showed up in there this week. It's rarely random. 3. You've been more tired than the amount of sleep should explain. That's not laziness, and it's not you falling behind. Emotional processing takes energy the same way physical labor does. If you feel like you ran a marathon in your sleep, in a way you kinda did. 4. A specific person or memory keeps resurfacing. Someone you hadn't thought about in months just showed up in a dream, a song, a random thought at a red light. That's not a coincidence, and it's not necessarily a sign to text them. Sometimes it just means there's something you never fully processed about that chapter, and it's asking to be closed, not reopened. 5. You felt a pull toward water, a longer shower than usual, craving the ocean, wanting to sit near a lake, or just listen to rain. Water is your element, and when you're drawn to it this strongly, it's usually your system asking to reset before something shifts. 6. Something has felt like it's quietly draining you, and you've caught yourself, maybe for the first time, actually naming it instead of just pushing through it. A job, a routine, a relationship where you give more than you receive. If that clarity has hit you recently, that's the eclipse doing exactly what it's built to do, showing you what's true instead of what's comfortable. 7. You felt an unexplained wave of heaviness or grief with no obvious cause attached to it. Not sadness about something specific, just a weight. That's often the oldest layer surfacing, the stuff that's been sitting quietly underneath your daily routine for a long time, finally getting enough stillness around it to be felt. If you counted 3 or more of those, comment the word "sure" below. That's your word, because this whole eclipse for you is about remembering you're allowed to have a shore of your own, not just be the ocean that holds everyone else's waves. Here's the part I don't want you to rush past. This eclipse is not asking you to blow up your life. It's not telling you to quit your job tomorrow or cut someone off by dinner. Eclipses get a dramatic reputation, but the real releases they bring are usually quieter than people expect. Most of the time, what's actually ending is a belief, not a circumstance. So ask yourself honestly, where have you been over-gimming lately? Where have you stayed somewhere, in a role or a routine or a relationship, purely because leaving felt selfish, even though staying is clearly costing you something? Where have you confused being exhausted with being devoted, like tiredness was proof you were a good person? That belief, the one that says your worth is measured by how much weight you can carry for other people, that's what this eclipse is loosening. Not because caring about people is wrong, it's not. It's one of the best things about you. But there's a difference between caring for people and disappearing into them. And I think somewhere along the way, you stopped being able to tell those two things apart. If a job, a habit, or a relationship has been slowly draining the color out of your days, don't be shocked if the next few weeks bring sudden clarity around it, maybe even a sudden ending. That's normal for this kind of eclipse. It doesn't wait for the timing to feel convenient. It just shows you what's already true and hands you the courage to finally act on it. And I want to be honest with you about something most content like this skips over. This can feel disorienting even when it's exactly what you needed. Grief and growth show up wearing almost identical clothes. You might feel a wave of sadness even while something better is clearly waiting on the other side of it. That's allowed. You're allowed to mourn a chapter while you're already walking away from it. That doesn't mean you're doing this wrong. Nothing that's actually meant for you is being taken away right now. Only the things you were never supposed to carry forever are finally being set down. Here's the part that actually matters more than the ending, even though it always gets less airtime. Remember what an eclipse mechanically is. The sun, your outer identity, briefly disappearing behind the moon, your inner world. For those 2 minutes over Iceland and northern Spain, there's no gap between who someone is and who they're showing the world. And this eclipse is happening in Leo, the sign built entirely around being seen without apology. For a lot of you, that fire meeting your water doesn't put you out, it changes what you're made of. Fire and water together don't cancel each other out. They make steam, mist, something that didn't exist in either element alone. That's the shift this eclipse is quietly setting up for you. The version of you where your intuition stops being something you second guess in private and starts being something you actually trust out loud. You've probably spent a long time keeping your gifts small. Your art, your instincts, the thing you sense about a person or situation before anyone explains it to you, that pull towards something creative or spiritual you've talked yourself out of more than once. This eclipse isn't handing you anything new. It's just clearing the noise off of something that was already there. Over the next few weeks, don't be surprised if your intuition sharpens, a stronger sense of knowing before you're told, more confidence in a hunch you'd normally dismiss, less patience for situations that ask you to shrink. That's not random personal growth showing up out of nowhere. That's a version of you that's been quietly building in the background for a long time, finally getting enough room to step forward. Now let's make this practical, because a feeling without direction is just a storm that passes over you and leaves without changing anything. First, give yourself permission to feel whatever comes up this week without immediately trying to explain or fix it. If you need to cry, cry. If you need 8 extra hours of sleep, take them. If you need quiet instead of company, choose the quiet. Your nervous system knows what it's doing right now more than any schedule does. Second, write it down. Something about putting a feeling into words on a page creates just enough distance to actually see it clearly instead of drowning in it. Try answering honestly. What am I tired of carrying? What have I outgrown but haven't admitted out loud yet? What would I choose here if I trusted myself completely? Don't edit the answers. Let them surprise you. Third, if you want a small ritual, keep it simple. Write down what you're ready to release and then let the paper go. Tear it up, bury it, or, since you're a water sign, let it dissolve in a sink or a bowl of water. The ritual itself matters less than the intention behind it. I am choosing, on purpose, to stop carrying this. Fourth, resist the urge to make big, permanent decisions purely because everything suddenly feels urgent. Eclipses are excellent at revealing the truth. They're not always great at showing you the entire picture in the same breath. Let the insight sit for a week before you act on it. You'll know the difference between a reaction and a real decision by how it feels a few days from now, not by how loud it feels tonight. And finally, go back to water in whatever small way is available to you. A longer shower, a bath with salt in it, a walk near an ocean or a lake, or just sitting with a window open while it rains. For you, water isn't just an element on a chart, it's closer to a form of prayer. Let it move over you and picture it carrying off everything you named on that page. You don't have to do all 5 of these. Even one is enough to move with this energy instead of getting pulled under by it. I do want to say one grounded thing before we close, because I don't think it does you any favors to only talk about the magic and skip the caution. Eclipse weeks can make everything feel more intense and more urgent than it actually is, which means it's also easy to misread a passing mood as a permanent truth about your life. If something feels unbearable this week, that's real, and you should take it seriously. But take it seriously by resting and getting support, not necessarily by making the biggest decision available to you before the week is even over. Big truths can wait a few days to be acted on. They rarely disappear just because you gave them a little more time. If any of this feels familiar, it's because you've actually done this before, even if you didn't have a sky event to hang it on. Think back to a moment in your life where something ended quietly. No dramatic blow up, just a slow release of something you'd outgrown. And on the other side of it, you found a version of yourself that felt more like home than the one before it. That's what this week is echoing. You already know how this goes. You've survived every version of this so far, and you came out more yourself each time, not less. So here's what I want you to sit with, Pisces. What feels like an ending this week, a habit, a role, a version of yourself that no longer fits, isn't a punishment. It's proof that some part of you has already outgrown a smaller life and simply refuses to fold itself back into it. You are the sign of the ocean, not the wave that crashes once and disappears, but the depth that's still there long after the surface goes quiet again. This eclipse can't take that from you. It can only make it a little more visible. If this spoke to you, drop the word sure in the comments and tell me what you're finally ready to set down. I read every single one. Thanks for spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next one.